Hello guys, welcome to Sagacious Learning. So in this video we will learn about the structure of the cell wall. So let's get started. So as you can see here, this is the structure of the cell wall, and the cell wall is having a cytoplasmic origin. It originates from cytoplasm. There are some organelles like endoplasmic reticulum and the Golgi complexes that help in the formation of the cell wall. And you can see here that this layer that is present in the middle, it is called middle lamella, and it is a connecting link between two adjacent cells. So on the both side of this middle lamella we have two different cells that are adjacent to each other. This is the cell 1, this is the cell 2, and you can see here that this is the outermost cell wall. It is called primary cell wall, and beneath the primary cell wall we have secondary cell wall, and this one here is the plasma membrane. So plasma membrane is made up of Golgi complexes, and you can see here that the secondary cell wall is present in the form of different layers. We have S1, S2, S3 layers of the secondary cell wall. So it is because of the fact that fibrils in this secondary cell wall are differentially oriented. You can see that some of the fibrils are present in slanting position, some are present in the horizontal position. And you know that cell wall is made up of fibrils embedded in the amorphous matrix, and the fibrils in the secondary cell wall are differentially oriented, making it easier for us to describe this secondary cell wall in the form of different layers, that is S1, S2 and S3. So this middle lamella is a connecting link between the two cells. Therefore, if we want to separate two adjacent cells, we have to dissolve this middle lamella by treating it with some strong acids. Moreover, cell walls are having a lot of minute apertures on their body. Those apertures are called plasmodesmata. So in the similar way, this middle lamella is also having a lot of minute apertures, and these apertures are called plasmodesmatas. And with the help of these minute apertures, cells are able to maintain cytoplasmic relations with each other. So and this and middle lamella is originated during the cell division, and it persists even after the cell division. This is a very viscous substance, and viscosity is because of the presence of calcium, pectin, cellulose and some other polymers. Now we will have a look at the primary cell wall. So primary cell wall is made up of cellulose and some other pectic substances, and it is the outermost wall of the cell. It is relatively permeable and thin if we compare it with the secondary cell wall. It provides elasticity to the cell, and also it is formed during the phase of the cell in which it is still growing. So it is developed in the early stages of the growth and development of the cells. It develops in those cells that have not yet ceased to grow. So in case of the immature meristematic and the parenchymatous cells, it is the only cell wall that they have. They do not have a secondary cell wall or tertiary cell wall. They only have primary cell wall, and it is capable of grow. And how does it grows? It grows by deposition of more and more cellulose beneath the existing primary cell wall, and this very phenomenon is called intussusception. And in case of the plant cells, this primary cell wall is made up of cellulose and pectin. In case of fungi, it is made up of chitin. In case of bacteria and blue green algae, this primary cell wall is made up of proteins and polysaccharides. And also you can see that the primary cell walls of the two adjacent cells, they are not in the direct contact with each other, because in between the two there is a middle lamella. So we will now have a look at secondary cell wall now. So this secondary cell wall is much thicker, and it provides considerable strength and mechanical support to the cell. It is because of the fact that it has a very high amount of lignin in it, and lignin reduces the water content of the cell wall matrix, and therefore makes the cell wall very much hard and tough. So it develops in those cells that have like ceased to grow. So it develops in mature cells, therefore it is present in those areas of the plant that are kind of mature, because of the fact that the mature parts of the plant will have the cells that have ceased to grow, and secondary cell wall is present in those cells only. So it is laid down in the form of different layers, and this is called apposition, and their layers are like S1, S2 and S3. And there is some material, that is material is called secondary cell wall material. This material include lignin, suberin, wax, fat, silica and some other minerals. So this secondary cell wall material is laid down on the primary cell wall in order for a secondary cell wall to develop. Okay, and the deposition of lignin is called lignification. But there are areas where this secondary cell wall material is not completely laid down, so it leaves out a very thin areas on that part of the cell wall, and these areas are called simple pits because of the fact that they have the absence of secondary cell wall materials. So it will make simple pits on those areas, and the simple pits of the adjacent cells, they are opposite to each other. For example, if there is a simple pit on this secondary wall, and another simple pit is here on this secondary wall, so the simple pits, these two simple pits, they will be opposite to each other, but they are not in the direct contact, as it is obvious that in between the two there exist two primary cell walls, and in between those two primary cell wall we have a middle lamella. So now we will have a look at the tertiary cell wall. So tertiary cell wall is made up of the innermost layer of the secondary cell wall, because sometimes the innermost layer of the secondary cell wall will change its chemical properties, and it will change its sustaining properties as well because of the presence of xylin. Xylin is a polysaccharide, and it is tertiary cell wall is present in xylem trachears of gymnosperms, and it is present in the form of swellings, and this cell wall provide mechanical support to the cell. So this is the end of the video, and thanks for watching.